Dhanyavad. Take your seat, please. Our most distinguished and revered Vyasji, Brahmachari Devji, and accompanied by Brahmacharini Jinaji, brothers and sisters, devotees and friends, my humble Sitaram to each one of you. It is an honor, blessing for all of us to be here this evening in this beautiful and very historic mandir, to join in satsang. And the Chinmaya Mission has, under the leadership of Swami Prakashananda ji, has taken a sankalpa, a resolution to visit 108 mandirs across Guyana, and there will be having discourses on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita from the very first verse to the last verse of the Gita. And so we are fortunate in this mandir to have the presence here. We are very honored, we are very fortunate that such distinguished guests can visit us here in this beautiful mandir, the Putmarant Shivala Mandir. And we'd like to welcome you, Brahmachari and Brahmacharini ji, to be here with us. And the approach to Bhagavad Gita by the Chinmaya Mission is very, very simple and simplified, so that everyone can understand the teachings of Bhagavan Krishna. Some of us, we have the understanding that, the Bhagavad Gita is very hard to comprehend, very hard to understand. It is not so. After listening tonight, you will have an understanding how simple the Gita is. And you should pick up your Bhagavad Gita. The Hindus are very lazy people. You see, very lazy when satsang is concerned or where dharma is concerned. But where jump up and wave there, you can't stop them at all. So, it is a call upon you to wake up. It is time we have been sleeping, we have been slumbering too long. Wake up, time to wake up and arise. Get up and be strong Hindus. Some people say, you see me, I'm a dead Hindu. And I rightfully said I'm a dead Hindu. There can't be a living Hindu. We need to be awakened. And the Bhagavad Gita is there to propel us towards something that is divine. And that is Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So, we have Brahmachari ji, Devji, he is from Trinidad. He has his origin in Guyana. And our dear Brahmachari ji from Ghana, not Guyana, Ghana, in Africa. So we are fortunate that we have such distinguished individual in our midst here tonight. So we welcome you, and we are honored, we are blessed, we are fortunate to have both of you in our beautiful mandir. And Swami Prakashananda ji once says that the Chinmaya Mission is not about numbers, it's about dedication, about commitment. Numbers are only for democracy, and democracy and stupidity are one and the same. So we are told that many are called but few chosen. So we are the chosen one to be in Mandir this evening. So we must count ourselves very fortunate. I do not want to be between you and Brahmachari ji. So with honor, with respect, and with reverence, I hand over the microphone to our learned and very illustrious Brahmachari ji, Devji.
Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam
Bhagavata Narayana Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Parnaye
Jnanamudraya
Krishnaya Gitamritaduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Hari Om.
All right. Hari Om. Thank you everyone for the warm welcome. And it's lovely to be here at this Shivalaya, this abode of Lord Shiva in Port Morant. And tonight we have just set out on chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. And for those who are following online, you know yesterday we did a short introduction. And those who are hearing for the first time, Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. It is one of the most powerful and revolutionary texts we have in Hinduism. It is given by Lord Krishna to his friend Arjuna on a battlefield. It is not given in the Himalayas. It is not given in a mandir. It is not given on TV. It is given on a battlefield. Arjuna is a warrior, and he has before him a great, it would be the greatest battle that humanity has ever seen. Millions upon millions of warriors on each side. Well, no, it wouldn't have been bigger than Ravana Yudh, but it would have been more than we have seen in recent times. Millions upon millions at once, all at war. And Arjuna is on the side of the good Pandavas, the noble Pandavas. He is the one everyone is looking up to. And he has a problem. And Lord Krishna is giving him spiritual guidance. he is surrendered and he needs that guidance to fight his battle in life. Very much akin to all of us. We have our own battle to fight in the form of our daily duties, in the form of the degradation of dharma which is going on around us. In the means to say, you are part and I are part of a family. And in that family you see, right in the household, so many good values and all that are slipping through the cracks. It always happens unless someone puts in special effort to exemplify. It means become an example of those values and try their best to pass it on to the next generation through their words and their speech and their action over a long period of time. Everything starts to break apart. Just like building this mandir. It doesn't happen overnight. Few people have to dedicate themselves over a long period of time. And then to improve it, generation after generation. It's not an easy battle we have to fight. It takes inspiration, it takes understanding, it takes the right attitude, it takes a greater purpose in life than what is available by material means. And in Hinduism, that same battle of life fits into the larger scheme of your own evolution, of your own journey towards happiness. Your own daily duties fit in that journey. Right now, our daily duties and our work does not fit well into our journey towards happiness. It is right now like an obstacle. I have to go to work. If I didn't have to go to work and earn money, I wouldn't. Because really how I get my happiness is by spending money, not by earning money. That's a pain. So my work really doesn't fit well into my life. But so Arjuna is facing that sort of problem, but at its zenith, when the world needs him most, if he doesn't get up and fight, we don't have Hinduism in Guyana. Because those on the other side are bent on destroying. The world needs Arjuna. Now there will come a time in your life when the world will need you to do something very important. Like give up all other things and raise the next generation properly for a good 5 or 7 years. From the time that they're born to when they're 7 years. You have to dedicate yourself to that. You have no greater purpose in life. But to put other things on hold and make sacrifice, not easy. Like that, the world needs everybody to stand up at some point and make a great contribution. So Arjuna is facing that difficult battle that we all face. And Lord Krishna now has taught him for 6 chapters. And he has now begun into the 7th chapter, which is a new theme, a new episode, that theme of bhakti. And devotion is necessary for the one on the spiritual path for several reasons. For the meditator, who was just taught in chapter 6, that finite mind cannot embrace the infinite. He needs to invoke the grace of the Lord. For the one who doesn't really jive with too much knowledge, or jive with just too much seva, whose heart wants to connect with something greater, who's motivated by love, he needs this next section of 6 chapters called Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti is what the topic is now. Devotion. The yoga of devotion. How I can use my heart and my feelings and my love backed by proper thinking to reach happiness in God. How I can use my heart backed by proper thinking to reach God. We use our heart to reach out to our loved ones. When we sing a song, when the child paints a painting and shows it to mommy, what do you think? And mommy says, wow, you drew a nice cow. And the child says, that's not a cow, that's you. And then you say, oh, oh, very beautiful. Oh yeah, now I see myself, now that you mention it. So like that, love is there, and we use that to connect with beings, we use that to expand our life, and now we'll use it to reach God. Backed by thinking. Who is that God that I'm worshiping? Why should I worship that God? How can I see that God everywhere? So this will be now in chapter 7. If you have not encountered these ideas before, they will really stretch your mind. When was the last time you took a good stretch? Like the splits or a lunge. Last time you took a good stretch. If it hasn't been in a while, it feels a little painful at first, you know. Oh, man. But afterwards, how do you feel? Like you have a new life, isn't it? So it's going to stretch the mind. Tonight will stretch your mind a little bit. And if it breaks or cracks, good. It'll have room for more things to go inside. So Bhagavan is now going to talk about himself. He said in the first verse, which we saw last time, that you're going to learn about me, Arjuna, completely, without any vagueness, without any error, without any doubt, if you know how to listen. Just by listening, you're going to get it. You don't have to do anything else. And this is a big deal in our tradition. I was telling yesterday, the power to listen is critical in gaining knowledge, is the essential thing. If you can't you know, I used to play dominoes with my dad growing up. We all used to play. And if you lose, well, the saying every time, if you can't think, you go feel. If you can't work your brain, now work your hand. And then you have to shuffle those dominoes. You've heard that kind of thing? If you can't listen, you go feel. You ever hear that? No? Yeah, thank you. Somebody, if you just say yes. Thank you. I can continue. Right? Okay. So, listening, if you don't catch it upon listening, what will you do after? There's nothing you can do. You missed it. So, it is very important in our tradition to make ourselves fit and ready and in the right mood and the right frame of mind to listen is the most close sadhana to getting knowledge. See, the most close sadhana, you see all the different things you have to do to get this knowledge. First, you have to get the pamphlet or the flyer. Then you have to make up your mind to come. Then you have to make plans and do cook early or whatever you have to do at home. Then you have to bathe. You have to dress. You have to come here on time, sit, sing bhajan, all these things you have to do. And the last thing you have to do before gaining knowledge is what? Listen. All of that work, the building of the mandir, the making of the murtis, the cleaning of the sweeping out and putting out sheets and all of that was for what? Finally is for what? To listen. So the last thing you have to do before gaining it is listen. Now what we have started, our brahmachari Dvajotji, he's a brahmachari because he's not married. I'm not a brahmachari. Gina and I, we're spouses. Although we have dedicated our whole life to the life of teaching and we don't have family and children and house and money and all that. But officially a brahmachari is one who is not married. So we have one brahmachari in our ashram who also does this type of work and trained in the same way in Chinmay Mission. He was telling me how he grew up in Mahaika. Right? Brahmachari was telling me about how he grew up in Mahaika Creek. And see, this becomes a long story now. It'll come later. Let me just tell you get right to the point. What is it? We see now, we have been to so many different mandirs, and there's a habit of passing around water mid-satsang as a hospitality, like you would do at home. Here, have something to drink, whatever. There's another habit of getting up and walking around. Like walk right in front of the singhasan, come around this way, look for something, make a little noise, come back that way, go do something there, go over there, come back, all while the listening is supposed to be going on. And while it's happening, from here I can see everybody's eyes are going like that with the person. Right? Now, just think, right? It's the same thing with food. Go, earn money, go to the market on the weekend, pick up the nice vegetables, bring them home, clean them, wash them, cut them, cook them, prepare them, put them in the nice bowl, cover it with a cloth, wait for everybody to come eat, dish out, serve, sit nicely, then finally time to eat. And at that time, you get up and go take a phone call. Or you start watching something and you eat so like this, and before you know it, food done, and you didn't even taste it. Like you did, and you don't feel satisfied also. You didn't get anything. If we had just sat quietly and chewed and tasted and felt grateful and all that, you'd feel so nice. In the same way, so what I was saying about back in Mahika, he was telling me, in 2015 only they got light, electricity like that. So there was no habit of sharing water and all that. That's a brand new thing. Like go back 20 years, none of that was there in Guyana. New thing we have brought. And what does it do? It just distracts everybody. And then people say, but how will you go on without drinking water? What if you're thirsty? But the answer to that is, what do you do when you're in the movie theater and watching and you're thirsty? You forget about it, isn't it? But we come from a generation of cane cutters. What did they do when they were thirsty? We're sitting in mandir quietly, not doing anything. We can wait. If we don't put in a little effort and sacrifice to listen and put other things, we will never be fit to listen. So to make our mind fit to listen involves the whole thing. And finally, when we come down to the last step, we should not create distraction for ourselves or others. No movement, no sound, no eating, no drinking. That has been our tradition forever. During satsang, nothing. That is the ancient tradition. Everything else is what you call decadence. Introduce something new. Like while this is going on, for children, why don't we put up Peppa Pig over here on the TV screen? Because they're not listening now, let them watch Peppa Pig. Put up a big screen TV. And then for those people who don't want to listen, but they want to at least be here, let me share Wi-Fi now. Let everybody go online and scroll a little bit. I'll look up, I'll listen, then at least I'll come and I'll have Wi-Fi. And you see how this thing goes. Then why just water? Put coffee now, tea. Because I need a little pick me. See where this thing is going. So it is up to the pundits and the elders to say, no. There's a reason why we don't sit, we don't eat, we don't drink. There's a reason for it. Now, if you don't know the reason, then everybody would think you're just being strict. But there's a very important reason why, right? So this topic has come up here at this mandir. I don't know why. Not for any reason. There's no water being passed out and everybody's sitting nicely. Actually, this message wasn't for you. This was message for somebody else. But at least you can pass it on, right? Okay, so like that, Lord Krishna says, now Arjuna, you listen. Something special is about to come. If you listen well, and he gives the qualities, with love for me, ready to do whatever is required, depending on me, you listen like that, you will get it. And don't worry, if you don't get it, then you'll still get something. And that something will make room for something more. So listen like this, Arjuna, and I'm going to give you this great teaching about myself. So Lord Krishna is not talking about you now. He talked about you for 6 chapters. Now he's going to talk about himself, right? Now, Arjuna must be thinking in his mind, well, this is be easy now. Before it might have been complicated, a little bit of meditation and karma yoga. This is easy. I already know all about you, Lord Krishna. I know about you already. You were born in jail, Kamsa imprisoned, and there in Mathura, then you were taken, and then you grew up there in Gokul. Then you did so many sports and leelas, and you played the bansuri and jumped in trees and all kind of things you did there, and removed so many asuras. Then they thought there, too many asuras are coming, so they went to Vrindavan. There you lifted with just your pinky finger Govardhan Parvat. I know about your life. I could write a biography. In fact, I was after this war, when I sit down, I was going to write a biography about you. So tell me about you, but I already know. Now, that much we know about Lord Krishna, right? He wears yellow dhoti. As a young boy, he had his bansuri tucked in that dhoti, and a naughty smile, and curly hair, and his gang of friends around him. And the gopis loved him. And he would steal butter, right? So we love that Krishna. Now he's grown up, king of Dwarka, given his army to Duryodhana and the Kauravas, sitting as a charioteer from a king, as now he's just a driver. He's the driver, and he's a chauffeur. He's become chauffeur for Arjuna, sitting on a chariot. It means he had to get up in the morning of the day of the battle and go clean the horses, and brush them. And you know what? You have to wash, in Monrepo we see, wash the horse every day, all down and everything, and pet them and tell them, okay, today's a big battle, and put on the armor, and then, strap them in. And he had to do all that for Arjuna, the great Krishna, Lord of the universe. For his friend he chose him. So that Krishna now, who's his close friend with Arjuna, is going to tell him about himself to Arjuna. Arjuna's like, okay, well, this part's going to be easy now. But Lord Krishna starts telling different things we've never heard. Before he does that, see, the first 3 verses are introduction. Bhagavan will tell what he's going to tell and why it is so valuable. Let us chant that together. So, now, I will chant the verse, and then you will chant just Hare Krishna, right? And by doing that, we all get blessings. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Your turn.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Jnanam teha savijnanam idam vakshyama sheshataha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Yajnatva neha bhunyonyata Yajnatva neha bhuyonyata Jnatavyamasheshyate.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
You can't hear me? Okay. Sound test. Sound. You can hear me now. You can hear me? All right. Bhagavan says, Arjuna, I will tell you, I will explain to you asheshataha, with all details, knowledge and wisdom. I'm going to give you knowledge and wisdom. Is there a difference? Is there a difference between knowledge and wisdom? Knowledge is a general kind of information about something. Wisdom is some special information about that thing that other people don't have. And you need knowledge before you can have wisdom. So you might be eating and not knowing whether this is arroz or aloo. Has it ever happened to you? Ever happened to you? And you had to ask, is this arroz or aloo? It never happened? Yeah. Now, you're experiencing it, but you don't know what it is until someone tells you, no, that's arroz. Wow, man, it tastes like aloo. Right? Now you get special wisdom of how arrows can really taste like aloo. But before that, you didn't know. Like that, if you're from abroad, like me, and you don't know which tree is which. You might pass the sugar apple tree every day and see it. You might sit underneath it and not know that is a sugar apple tree. So you have the experience of it, but you don't. Somebody has to tell you. But just telling alone doesn't give you wisdom. Just somebody telling you, well, this is eros. Unless you eat it, then you only get the special experience of really knowing what it is. So in the same way, Bhagavan's going to tell about himself and give general knowledge, which is essential for us to get wisdom, to know who he really is. When Bhagavan says I, which is the word for I in Sanskrit is aham, aham. No. Yeah. No. Same rule goes for me. If I can't sit here without a little breeze, I'm not fit to talk. I should put all things out of my mind and focus on what I'm doing, because this is the essential thing. Same rule goes for me. We have so many great examples of sadhus like that. Our Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji, whose picture is here, once he went to sit on a singhasan, and he sat and there was a nail. Because you don't know what you find. Every singhasan is different. There was a nail coming up. And the people who prepare, they don't know, they don't sit there out of respect. They prepared and he got that nail in his leg. And he's bleeding in satsang. He only dealt with that after. Means when it comes time finally to enjoy the thing which you have been searching for, you put all things out of your mind. And that is a habit you develop by every time going to satsang and then not eating, not drinking. I developed that habit too. Finally, this is it. I should be able to focus now. That is essential for anything. You know when that road becomes very narrow. You stop talking, you turn down the music, and you focus. You don't want to go in the trench. Pay attention. When you have to walk on a beam to cross, so you don't fall in the water, then pay attention. There's certain times in life when you need to put all things out of your mind, and we need time to write exam. You can't be thinking about, I wonder what I got for lunch today. Will there be peanut punch or no peanut punch? They promise peanut punch, If your mind thinking that and not about the question, are you going to do well? No. If your belly is hurting you that day and it's time to write exam, and you don't have the power to put things out of your mind and apply yourself, what will happen? Something small like a little belly ache, exam gone. So you develop that power here in satsang, like that. So this is the rule. And so anyways, back to this now. Bhagavan says, I'm going to teach you about knowledge and wisdom. And what will be the point? Why, Bhagavan, are you telling me? And he tells again what the result will be. Having known this, yajñatva, there is nothing left to be known. Nothing remains to be known in this world once you know about me. Very interesting. It's a bold statement. If I know about you, Krishna, then I don't have to study algebra. If I know about you, then I don't have to study what's going to happen in elections. The bold statement being made in scriptures here. And like that, you have to ask, nothing left remains in this world to be known? Well, it is to be answered like this. Two ways. One is nothing left worth knowing. Means whatever we're interested in it finally to get some happiness down the road. Means if whoever is elected, it works for me, that will give me finally something that I want. If I pass this algebra, finally I'll get a job, and that job will lead to that, and I'll get what I want. But if you already have what you want, then I know many accountants who have their position, and I used to be in that profession, have their position and all that kind of thing, and when some new laws and all that come, they're not interested. Let the younger generation learn that. Why? Because I have everything I want. It's not worth knowing. And that happens all the time. So nothing will be left worth knowing. And the other way it can be taken also, if you understand really the Lord, who is infinite, that covers everything. You understand everything in essence. Now, these are all new ideas, right? These are all new ideas. An example of that will be like what? If you know the ocean, You really understand what is ocean. Doesn't that include all waves? Yes. It includes all bubbles? Yes. It includes all eddies, swirling parts? Yes. It includes all currents? Yes. Well, if you know the total in huge ocean, you know everything. Now, we only think we only know about one way to learn. Okay, you study one bubble at a time. You study each wave at a time. And you try and add up all that knowledge. Will that ever end? But there is a way to get down to the root of the universe, a way to get down to really what makes the whole ocean. I'll tell you, if you know what is water, see, there's a formula for water, everybody knows it. H2O, right? They write it all the time. You've seen it on bottled water, or where you go to fill your bottle, H2O. If you know what is H2O, can you really learn anything special about bubble? That has any special information for you? Wave is just a different form of the same thing. It really can't deliver to you anything fundamentally new if you learn about H2O. Correct or not? You're happy to see different things in the world. It's nice to see how H2O can take so many forms. It can become ice, it can become rain, it can become cloud. But it's not giving you anything new, really. Because you know what is H2O. You know what it tastes, you know what it's made of. It's made of oxygen and hydrogen. You know. Like that. Once you know the Lord, you know everything. You can get down to the fundamental. So a quick way of learning this whole universe is to learn about Bhagavan. So, Nyatavyam anyat bhuyaha na. There will be nothing more to be known in this world. Then, Bhagavan adds now something else. He tells Arjuna, this knowledge I'm going to tell you also is very precious, It's very special, very unique. And by doing that, our value of it should go up. Just like there's only a few major hotels in Georgetown, right? A few major hotels in Georgetown. And so that means that all the big people who come, they'll have stayed in those hotels. So I'm sure someone there at the front desk is saying, you want to stay in this number suite? Well, that is where the President of United States stayed one time. And then when you hear that they stayed there, that room becomes more special. So now you want to go and stay there, isn't it? Something special. I want that now. Then the joke is, because there's no competition, when you go to that room, you sit there and you're finally happy, just like the President of, what did I say? United States is sitting there now. Down, you turn the fan not working. You call down, the fan not working. Well, let me tell you something. That fan was not working when the President of the United States was there also. So we didn't change it. And he didn't complain. So why are you complaining? So then you say, oh yeah, okay, well, this is the broken fan that so-and-so used. When something becomes special, we want it. So now, Bhagavan tells. Now, there's another way to introduce this verse. And it's very famous. You will hear this verse all the time chanted. It's a very famous verse. Why is it that not many people put in the effort to seek out this knowledge, listen to it, and even when they listen to it, they do not gain it? Look how many people are here in the mandir. And this is knowledge about God, not Hindu God. God, period. There are so many great scientists, so many people from other religions who open Bhagavad Gita to read, what great philosophy is there, because there's something here that is not anywhere else. You just have to go online and see what so many writers and thinkers and scientists have said that they have found in Bhagavad Gita. Einstein coming down. So this topic is going on, and nobody's here. Relative to the size of Guyana. Why? Why does that happen? That's not a new phenomenon. I knew that would happen. This is a big group for the Mandir, but relative to the size of Berbice, East Berbice, it's not a big population relative to that. Why? Why does that happen? Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatyati siddhaye.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Yatatamapi siddhanam kaschin mam vedi tatvataha.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So Bhagavan now tells, see how rare this thing. Sahasreshu, in thousands upon thousands. Thousands upon thousands means millions. In millions of people, Manushyanam, kaschit, one person will strive. One person will strive to what? To learn this. Oh, in millions, one person will strive. Then, Yatatam api siddhanam, of those people who are striving, again now, one will understand it in essence. Oh, really? So Bhagavan is telling a rule about the universe. Now, so many questions might be there. First thing, message for us, right? Where do we fall? Well, among millions, some only one will strive. And you have come to satsang. So where does that put you? Already you're few among millions. So that first part of the verse doesn't apply to you. You're here. That says everything. The fact that you are here says everything. Next point. Among those who strive also, one will understand. So now that part applies to us. Why is it that among those who are striving, not everybody here will understand? Why does that happen? Think a little bit with me, right? What does it take? It takes, like all things, to gain this knowledge requires fitness. Like all things require fitness. You cannot just walk in to University of Guyana and sit down in any classroom and say, okay, teach me. Especially if when you sit down, the table is here. Means you're still a young boy, you haven't done ABCs yet. What will you learn there without knowing ABCs? So to get to that level is a long process, and you cannot give up midway. You can't leave it. You have to go on striving, and then you will reach. Not that you won't reach, you will definitely reach. But what it requires someone to stick with it for a long time. So people just don't stick with it. Like all things, any goal you have, not many people reach. Correct or not? You know wherever you have reached, you know all the people you grew up with, you went to school with, and all that kind of thing, and where some people ended up and where other people ended up. And many times, the one who does best in school or is the valedictorian and all that kind of thing, they don't reach any great goal. Very common. Because once they get there, then they start thinking, well, I'm somebody, And then they don't strive anymore. Getting accolades doesn't lead to the goal. Striving leads to the goal. And the one who's quietly at the back there, not doing well right now, but doesn't give up, doesn't leave that thing, he reaches. My dad tells me stories all the time about one Mohan Nando. You know him? Great singer he was, from the west coast Demerara. And he would hear him in the village practicing. Laga Churani Medad. You know that song? And he was famous for that. And so my dad heard him striving, didn't leave it. And where he ended up. He's an example. A great singer from Guyana. So, like that, we take the message that they have a nice phrase, Swami Prakashananda ji likes to use it all the time. It's very instructive. We have to learn to make our back strong. Have you ever heard that? Make your back strong like anything. You can take it literally also. If you don't have a strong back, then you can't stand for very long. You need to sit down, you need to brace, to lean up on the side, get all kind of different pain, back pain, leg pain, shoulder pain, all kind of pain, correct? And then you see other people on the road with strong back. Then that gives them strength to do anything. In sports and fitness, core strength is the first strength you need. You can't develop any other strength. All that comes after. So that is a very ordinary level. Make your back strong means spiritually that I have strengthened myself by being able to give up this thing and give up that thing, and I'm still okay. I'm still okay, and I can pursue even when hardship comes. In the old days, children from all different strata used to go to the Gurukul. Like Rama went to the Gurukul, giving up all princely life. There also he had to go and collect wood and bring it home and be outside and all that kind of thing. What we find now is you have one generation who strives really hard and amasses great wealth, and the next generation becomes weak. Because unless the AC is running, they can't sleep. Unless the net is there, they can't sleep. They feel like second-class citizens. Because they never saw how the parents grew up. And so what happens to all the wealth? That generation squanders it. Because all kinds of problems come. So to make ourselves strong, meaning to say, I can stay on this path, and I am ready to face the vagaries of life, and I'm ready to do without things, if necessary. Means I'm resilient. A resilient person will make the path. And it requires courage also. Great bravery is required on this path. Bravery is required or not? To come if you want to hear this whole chapter 7, what you have to do to make up your mind to come for 4 or 5 days straight. Suppose now you don't like driving in the dark. You have to brave it. Or suppose you want to stay home and look the grandchildren. So you have to tell the children at home, no, look your own children. I go in. Then they'll blackmail you emotionally. You have to brave that also. So many things you have to brave to make it to satsang. Like that. A person has to be strong. Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. The Upanishad says, someone who's weak does not reach this great goal. To give you an example, right? Swami Chinmayanandaji, when he went to study from Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, so Swami Chinmayanandaji got his sannyas from Swami Shivananda of the Divine Life Society. You may or may not be knowing. Very famous he is. Then Swami Shivananda sent Swami Chinmayanandaji way further up from Rishikesh to Uttarkashi, further up in the Himalayas, to go and study Vedanta now, deep Vedanta from Swami Tapovanji Maharaj. Swami Tapovanji Maharaj was a recluse of the highest order. Means he doesn't have anything. He's sitting there in the Himalayas, just reveling in his own knowledge. Like a living Bhagwan Shiva, just reveling. but living, alive, with all knowledge. And many people would make the journey. Great kings would go and queens would go to meet him for advice and all that. The British knew he was so great, they named that set of regions of the mountains around by him. They named it after him. Swami Tapovanji Maharaj. So, Gurudev went to go. So he walked 160 kilometers. Walked from Rishikesh to Uttarkashi to go meet this great Guru. And that's mountainous terrain. That is like walking from here to the Demerara Bridge in Georgetown. That distance he walked. And not like there's way stops along the way to sit and get, something to eat and all that kind of thing. Once he got there, Swami Tapovanji Maharaj said, "Did you bring the letter?" "No, I didn't bring any letter, Gurudev." "You go back and get a letter from Swami Shivananda." Go back. He walked back. And imagine what's going through his mind for days. Well, why didn't Swami Shivananda send the letter the first time? Oh, why would he send me back? Can't he see I'm an earnest too? All kinds of questions will come in the mind. When he gets now all the way back to East Berbice from Demerara Bridge, Swami Shivananda, lovingly as he was, explained, "Don't you know, he's testing your resolve." So Swami Shivananda signed something and gave it to paper to him. And he walked third time now. It's 3 times the distance. Going, coming back, going again. And he brought the letter. And when he brought the letter to Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, Swamiji said, Gurudev said, Swami Tapovanji Maharaj said, "Keep it." Means it wasn't about if you want this knowledge, you have to make your back strong and go get it. Like that. So that is the reason why those who strive don't make it. And that applies to everything in life, and not just this. So it should, now what you have to say, people say, "Well, that's not me, I have not strived for anything in my whole life." So then, Bhagavan, you really demotivated me. You didn't motivate me with this verse. A few among millions make it, and a few among them make it. That's demotivating. I thought you said you were going to motivate me, make it something special. If you think like that, really what's happening is you're demotivating yourself. Bhagavan's not demotivating you. It means you're looking at it pessimistically. Already you're one among millions. Already. And if you strive, you will reach. And striving is within your control. And once you get on a great path and you have a great goal, you get inspired, Like when any mandir says, "Okay, we are going to, we're going to paint the mandir, tile the mandir, build an extra shed, we're going to do something great. We're going to run a camp for children and educate the next generation. We're going to do like never before in this community." Suppose somebody says. Then right away everyone says, "No, you can't do that. You can't do it. This won't happen. No one will come. Look how this other person failed." And they give you all those kind of things, right? But that person who makes up his mind, he gets inspiration. And he accomplishes something never seen before. It happens again and again and again and again. This is what the next generation needs. A great goal. Beyond reach. But they know it's within my reach because I can strive. Like that. So Bhagavan says, in doing 2 things. It's very special. Not many people get it. And I'm giving it to you right now in your hand. Means right now I'm telling it to you. What you required from you now is to listen properly and strive if you don't understand, like that. You already know all of this that I'm telling you because you chant before Hanuman Chalisa, right? Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamana Mukura Sudhari Paranam Raghubara Bimala Jasu Jodayaka Palachari Buddhihina Tanun Janike Sumirao Pavana Kumar Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kale Savikar. And I'm going to ask Bhagavan for anything. I want Buddhi and I want Vidya. I want this knowledge you're going to give me and I want that wisdom. I want that. But before asking for those things, what does Tulsidas ji ask of Hanumanji? Bala. Strength. Power is required. Right? So that is one thing to teach ourselves and the next generation. Power, strength, stamina, resilience. So if you can, you might not want to do without TV and without phone and without all AC for a while, but just to let the children see their father and mother strive like anything. You take up some great goal, and they won't strive. They'll complain and they'll do this, but they'll see. And when they get older, they'll think back. Look how my parents strive. Isn't that how you have strength? You were playing and causing problems and all that kind of thing. But when you get older, and when you face the same struggle, you think back. Look how my parents handled the situation. I can also handle it. So you also have the power to inject resilience into the next generation. Even if your parents didn't have, you can inject it in the next generation by demonstrating it. And they have no choice. Like COVID vaccine, no choice. They're going to get injected because you demonstrated, they watched, and it went inside. Only to a certain age. After a certain age, whether you do it or don't do it, time gone for that, right? Okay. That is the message there. It is precious and we must strive. Now the knowledge begins. Verse 4 of chapter 7. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Bhumirapo nalo vayuh kam mano buddhireva cha.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Ahankaritiyam me bhinna prakritirashtha.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Apareyam mitistvanyam prakriti vedhi me para.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagata.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Etat yonini bhutani sarvani tyupadharaya.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Aham Kritsnasya Jagataha Prabhava Pralayasthatha.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Okay. in these three verses, 4, 5, and 6, Bhagavan gives that knowledge and that wisdom. Many people who study the chapter, myself included, the very first time I heard it, I listened to the whole chapter and then afterwards, well, where was that knowledge and where was the wisdom? It gets like lost in all the different ideas. So, first comes the knowledge about Bhagavan. What he says now, very interesting thing. He's going to describe himself, right? What is he going to say? Actually, he doesn't start describing himself with bansuri and dhoti and, feather, peacock feather and all that. He starts describing the world. So in Hinduism, Bhagavan is this whole world, right? And he's going to tell how he is this whole world, how it actually is. We have heard countless times, God is omnipresent. God is everywhere. God is everything. Have you not heard? But how? How? That is going to be explained now. So see this thing. Bhagavan says, Bhumihi, earth, Apaha, water, Analaha, fire, Vayuhu, air, Kam, space. These 5, space, air, fire, water, earth, along with mind, intellect, and ahankar. These are my nature that have become bhinna, divided. So I have a prakriti is the word. Prakriti. Prakriti means, in simple terms, nature. It is the power of the Lord. Bhagavan's Maya, Shakti. Many names are for that. They're for this one aspect of the Lord. His power, or what we call as nature. So, see, I'm equating two things. Nature outside, birds, trees, grass, water, life. The word for it in Sanskrit is prakriti. That same word is used for Bhagavan's power. Meaning to say, nature is an expression of Bhagavan's power. So he says, my prakriti splits into these 8. In the first verse, right? These 8 are my nature. So he's describing now how this world comes to manifest. How this world came to be. Many people ask, what is the cause? I mean, you may not have asked. You may not remember, but you did ask. What is the cause of the world? And the next generation, have you asked? Where did this world come from? Or maybe they told you already. So I know some bang happened, a big bang. Like some tasa drum or something. Some real big bang happened. I even watched the TV show, I know how this thing happened. But if you really speak to scientists, they don't know. Right? That's just a theory. And many have already disproved it. So where this world came from, Bhagavan explains that also. So it goes like this, right? Bhagavan, first of all, is not giving any new idea. This is not Lord Krishna's idea. He's telling nothing but what is there in the Upanishads. What is there in what is called Vedanta. What is there in the philosophical portion of the Vedas. He's telling that only. Nothing new. He's revitalizing it, but he's not adding new ideas. Right? And what is that? He's saying, this is how this your tradition explains how this world comes to be. See this thing. And it's very easy to understand because we see it all the time. Many, many times, see, there's a rule in nature. We know this. What is going on in a small way here is also going on in a big way everywhere. The little type of politics and all that is going on in the home, that thing's also going on at the government level. Huh? The same, we open, in science, they take a little bit of the ocean and they put it under a microscope and they look. And then whatever is going on there in that area, they know is going on in a big way also. Right? The small gives you an idea of the big. Speaking of politics in the home, one man had come to the gate and he was knocking on the gate and nobody was coming. He's knock, knock, knock. He hollered out, inside, inside, like that. And then a boy came out. And he says, may I speak with the person who wears the pants in the family? Because he wants to sell something now. I want to speak to the person who wears the pants in the family. Well, the boy says, you have to come back tomorrow, because that is exactly the fight which is going on right now. We don't know yet who will win. Right? So that's the kind of thing going on everywhere, in a small way and a big way, for instance. Right? So, We know in nature how things come. They usually come in 2 phases. Have you seen? That first the egg is laid from the hen, phase 1. Then it hatches into a chick, phase 2. And that is the explosion, and then everything grows from there, correct? First, the seed evolves into a sprout. And then from the sprout, it grows into a tree. That's phase 2. Phase 1 is the sprout. Phase 2 is the tree. You don't go from seed straight to bark. You don't see bark coming out of a seed. You know, and big leaves and branches, like climbing out. First it grows into something, and then it becomes something else like that. So the same principles which are manifest everywhere, rippling through the universe, which we see in small ways, that same thing happens in a big way also. Bhagavan says, first, I manifest at these 5 elements. Then, like amoeba, or like little cell, they mix and recombine and all that, and then bang, you got a big universe manifesting. And once it manifests, with all the different variety, also comes body, mind, intellect. That like this, the universe manifests. But please see, the whole point of this, and this can be studied in deep or in brief like this, right? The whole message is that it came from where? It started from Bhagavan. So from the Lord, His own power, His own nature has the capacity to become these 5 elements, and then they... Now, students will ask, 5 elements? You know, if I open my science textbook, I don't see 5, you know. Plenty elements are there. How many? 100 and what? I forget how many elements are there, right? Starting with helium. Hydrogen, starting with hydrogen, coming down, right? So many elements are there. Well, see this thing. So the Rishi, who's right then they ask? Who's right? It's like this. The Rishis have just taken the same world and grouped it differently. Just like how, you know, you can, if you're taking a survey of all the different types of species in Guyana, well, you could start with birds and your whole life will finish when you start listing different types of birds, right? Or you start with butterflies and your life will finish. How many there will be? Or you can say birds, category 1, and include all flying things with two I was going to say legs, you know, 2 wings. So you group it differently, but it's the same thing. Now there's a great limitation in the periodic table of elements that science has grouped. What is that? It only describes the observable world. What is the element which makes your thoughts? That's part of the world or not? It's the most important part of the world. If you didn't have thoughts, then you wouldn't have a hypothesis. If you didn't have a hypothesis, you wouldn't have the periodic table of elements. Einstein asked the question, I know so many things, but I want to know where the hypothesis comes from. So what makes thoughts? Well, we don't have an element of thoughts. So we don't know what that thing is made of. Well, the Rishis reclassified things into these 5 elements. And really, if you want to see how perfect it is, you try and find something that doesn't fit. Find something that doesn't fit into space, air, fire, water, earth. You take your body. It has earth. Well, yeah, it is made of earth. It's made of 7 curry, actually. And the aloo and the choka and the leaf also, which is holding it, all that is made of the earth. And then I eat that and I become like a walking refrigerator. I carry food with me wherever I go. I'm made of the same thing, correct or not? So I'm made of earth. But they say, no, you're 70% water, correct? The shape of my body comes from water. I'm a sack of water, like that, walking with an outside shell of earth. Correct or not? Correct. Well, I say correct. You just say yes. Then you're breathing, air is there. Heat is there, heat element. That's why you need AC and fan and all that, because you're giving off heat. And of course, space is there in the belly. Especially, we know when space is there in the belly, right? And parents are always telling us space is there in the head also. So space is there. So we have all 5 elements that makes us. Find one thing which doesn't have. So they categorize everything very nicely. Heat means the fire and light element in the universe, and earth means that element which gives smell, and like they give a wonderful study in Vedanta of how to reclassify things. Like that, they also understand the thoughts are classified in the same way. Thoughts are made of the same thing. See, they came up with elements that can describe thoughts also, and senses, and prana. So their classification is great. It applies to more. Your classification. I say they, but it's yours. And Bollywood, Hollywood loves this. Like they have Avengers movies and all that. When they have to describe the whole cosmos and all that, they say, okay, there are 5 elements. And 1 stone for each, and they all have kind of powers, and you can get them. And, correct or not? Where did they get it from? From this only. It's very easy to understand. And see, science has its own purpose for the elements. That's to study the world outside. We have the reason why we classify like this, because it works very well to understand God. This works. Through this, you can get a vision of God, because everything fits into these 5, like that. So when these manifest, along with the mind, intellect, and ahankar, you get all the beings in the world, and everybody is made of that. Then Bhagavan adds, in the next verse that we chanted, this whole thing which has come from me means what, you know? See this example. Now you tell me, this is the first time I'm telling this example, right? A coconut is loved in our tradition because it has within it so many things that sustain our life. You've heard that before, right? So I was thinking, really, could I make, what could I make? If you start separate from one where you can't see everything, you can break it into parts. You have the shell, then you have the jelly, hard jelly, soft jelly. Out of that you can get oil, right? People make coconut flour also, right? Coconut milk also, like that. So if you start from one coconut, you can divide it easily into these separate things. Oil, flour, jelly, water, milk, the husk, right? Then with these basic ingredients, you could mix and recombine them and make. Well, what would happen if you took coconut flour and you put coconut oil and you put coconut sugar and some coconut milk and you put it to bake? You should get some coconut bread. Somebody should try. So the final product is some kind of coconut loaf, right? You can imagine. So any baker here, you tell me, no, coconut flour too dry. That thing wouldn't make nice. But just imagine, right? So the final product is bread. The basic ingredients which are there in the bread are these, and the first thing is the coconut. So Bhagavan starts and he splits himself, recombine and make something out which is even different. But you have some basic elements. You understand? From one thing, you split it into some. From that, you remix it and you make something else. And if you understand that it is coconut sugar and coconut flour and coconut oil, and you know the heat also is from the coconut shell. You understand that. Coconut. Then you know the whole thing is coconut. In the same way, if you know that it's Bhagavan air, and Bhagavan space, and Bhagavan fire, and Bhagavan earth, and Bhagavan water, then you can go back and be, this whole thing is Bhagavan. Because it has come from like that. Like that is, he's explained, this world has manifested like this. That's why he's telling this whole complicated story of how it splits and recombines, because it all starts from, it's all branded with, like that. But the world is made of more than just the inert. All this thing so far has been inert, you know. Inert means, you know what inert means? See, that's what I said. This is not your normal satsang. A lot of information coming your way, stretching the mind. Stay with me, not much longer. You know what inert means? Inert means dead. Inert means not alive. Right? Jara. So all this type of matter. What's the matter? What's the matter? You go on talking about matter. That's the matter. Matter. As opposed to life. All this thing is made of matter. But Bhagavan says, I have another prakriti. He introduces a second one. I have another power, another nature. And that is param. The first one was called apara. Apara means lower. And the next one, I call it, or it is called by the great rishis, as higher. Oh, you have another nature? Besides the coconut, there's something else that makes this world? Yes. Jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagata. Now this is wonderful. I've been excited to think and tell and share about this for such a long time. What is it? And it'll start here and it'll finish tomorrow. Huh? What is it, Bhagavan says? This higher prakriti of mine is what becomes the living beings. Jiva bhutam. It becomes the living beings, or you can say it is the life force. The world, if you go out and walk on a nice sunset day in East Berbice, you see more than matter. In fact, what you see is birds flying and cows walking and dogs running, correct? And people quarreling and drinking and driving too fast. And you see all that, correct? If you walk past a cow and you look in the cow's eyes, and he looks back at you, usually chewing something, right? Looking at you, looking at him. Is there more than matter there? Yeah, there's some being is there. I can see. I mean, you can't see, but you, by looking in the eyes, you know, you intuit. Some being is there. Life is there. Correct? So there's another element to this world that we call life. That is in you also. You just have a touch. Are you sentient? I am alive. When you recognize, when you touch and you feel, hey, I'm alive, you know what you're feeling? You're feeling Lord's higher prakriti, the power to be life itself. I have these two, and these two, when they mix together, they make this whole universe. So the rishis go on thinking about this, think, you know. They compare them also. Very interesting analysis is there. See this thing. Analyze the two different. One is world of matter, which has come from some basic elements, which includes your mind and your thoughts. And the other is life force. Life force. Now compare. First thing. The world of matter and all of that, right? It is, you can describe it. It has so many features. You can study it. Make periodic table elements. It has attributes. But life, you can study it. You can figure out, is life salty or sweet? In life force, what you call? Pungent or sweet smelling? What is life force? No, you can't. It has no attributes. That's why science cannot study it. Science can't study it because they can't put it under a microscope. There's no attributes. So one is without any description and one has all types of description. See another factor about it. One is changing like anything. You're changing like anything. When you look in the mirror every day, you look the same. But if you go back and look at your picture from a long time ago, or Facebook says, here are you 10 years ago. You said, hide that. I didn't realize I have changed so much. So you're changing. Everything is changing. This is nicely symbolized by Bhagavan Shiva Nataraj. He's dancing, he's constantly in movement. So he's saying, I have this side of me which is constantly in movement. That's the matter side. And the life side doesn't move at all, doesn't change, is always like that, just being life. So you got one not moving, one moving. One without attributes, one with attributes, like that. Now, like this, they go on analyzing and they differentiate. It's wonderful. For those who like to think about this thing, it's wonderful, right? Now come to see. Bhagavan, I want to tell you one last thing, right? Last thing. These two mixing together make the world. You right now are life clothed in matter, right? Okay. In the same way, Bhagavan says, I support this whole jagat by this higher prakriti. Support means what? See, in your own body, as long as life, that blessing of life is there, your body is harmonious, means all the different, see, you eat the baigan and you don't turn into a baigan. Right? The baigan eats the sunlight, and the sunlight turns into the baigan. Balanje. Right? It turns into the balanje. But when you eat it, it turns into you. Correct or not? It's a very interesting thing. Meaning to say, you have a whole system. And from the toe cell to the brain cell, everybody's working in harmony. And whatever you take in, they pull it apart and they send it to where it needs to go, and it keeps you alive. Anything from outside, even a little splinter enters, and the whole system starts to work to remove that and put white blood cells and all that. You have a harmonious system here. But the moment life moves to another body, what happens to this whole system? It disintegrates. Correct? So what is holding it together and making it, look at how it moves so nicely and all that, is the blessing of life. When it is gone, it disintegrates. Expand that to the universe. All things are moving neatly. Cosmoses are turning. We keep at the same distance from the sun. Everything is going on. Like cells are moving in the body. So we have always appreciated that there is a cosmic person also, responsible for the harmonious and intelligent moving of the universe. Just like life supports my body, keeping it moving and all that. It means I hold the thoughts in my mind, they stay in my memory, then I can say them to you and you can hear them, and all kinds of things happening. When that life is gone, so too, because the universe is working so well, we have a good idea that there's a cosmic being which is supporting the movement of all things. And we have great suktams to sing about that. Purusha Suktam. It's chanted, I heard it in so many mandirs. To get an idea of that cosmic being. So life supports matter. It gives it its intelligence. What does it mean to say, in other words, see, if you're a really scientific person, you would like it put this way. There are laws in this universe, and those laws are upheld by an intelligent being. Like that. If you take that to school, you can put it in the bank. Means no one can argue with you. Because any science teacher will admit there are laws in this universe. But when it comes to why they are there, why they don't change, who upholds them, where they came from, why they are the same across the universe, here and in Mars, they already know when they get to Mars, water will be water, earth will be earth, gravity will be gravity. Why? Because the law is the same everywhere. If you ask them why, where did the law come from? What is it made of? Who upholds it? Why is it there? They say, well, really? An honest science teacher will tell you, that is not my business. That is beyond me. That's not measurable. I can see the product, but I can't see the law. I can't actually touch the law. I only see its effects. The law is not empirical. So we explain that. So we're dealing in different realms. There's no fight. The fight is between Abrahamic religions and science. But Hinduism has always been ahead of science, giving them a little hint. Okay, come this way now. You'll learn something. And that's why scientists love to read Gita. Long history is there. So Bhagavan has revealed that this universe is all made of him in two forms. A higher Prakriti, Para Prakriti, life force, and Apara Prakriti, lower matter. A visible part and an invisible part, both together make this universe, as they do make you. Now, this is all knowledge, He hasn't come to wisdom yet. He's just packing with knowledge. When he gets to the wisdom, rishis stop right there and they sit in meditation. No, that's it. I reached it. But first you have to note his arrows. Later on, in a different mandir, we'll eat the arrows. Right? What is that? Where will that happen? That will happen in Bloomfield tomorrow at 6:30, not at 7. Right? Now we're going very slowly. We'll have to pick up pace at some point.